حي على الفلاح.
الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. As to what proceeds, after praising Allah the Most High, separated from His creation in a manner which befits His Majesty, with love and veneration exclusively for Him, and then requesting He the Most High to send His salah and salam upon our final Prophet and Messenger, Khatamul Anbiya wal Mursaleen, Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Qurashi alayhi salatu wassalam. We meet once again for our meeting to study the subject known as Fiqh-Us-Sunnah. And currently we're studying the text, the classical text known as Durar Al-Bahīyyah, written by the great scholar of Hadith and Fiqh, Imām Ashawkāni, rahimahullah ta'ala, who also wrote an explanation to his own text known as Durar Al-Bahīyyah. And what we were discussing previously was the different types of impurities. So if you can have the reciter recite the chapter once again, and then inshallah we shall continue where we left off. Now, chapter 2, types of impurities. هل هناك قارئ؟
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ.
نعم. اقرأ باللغة العربية وبعدين باللغة الإنجليزية.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم اغفر لنا ولشيخنا ولشيوخه ولوالدينا وللسامعين أجمعين. قال الإمام محمد بن علي الشوكاني في كتابه درر البهية: باب النجاسات. فصل: والنجاسات هي غائط الإنسان مطلقا وبوله إلا الذكر الرضيع ولعاب كلب وروث ودم حيض ولحم خنزير، وفيما عدا ذلك خلاف، والأصل الطهارة، فلا ينقل عنها إلا ناقل صحيح لم يعارضه ما يساويه أو يقدم عليه. فصل: ويطهر ما يتنجس بغسله.
بس خلاص ترجمة.
The translator says, Chapter 2, types of impurities. Impurities include human excrement, human urine, except the urine of a nursing male infant, dog saliva, dung, menstrual blood, and pork. Apart from those listed above, scholars have disagreed over impurities not mentioned in this text. So water is pure. Thus, if something does not change its purity or it's not mixed with impure substances, we should always assume that the water is pure.
أسبق بارك الله فيك. Shawkani rahimahullah ta'ala in this chapter talks about the impurities, the different types of impurities defined by the Sharia. Shawkani mentions and says that impurities include human excrement, and then he mentions human urine, And then we have the translator who puts into brackets, except the urine of a nursing male infant. So the question that needs to be asked now is the urine of a nursing male infant الذكر الرضيع pure or impure? So the translator A. Al-Hassan and the editor Richard Arnold, they put except the urine of a nursing male infant into brackets. Does anybody know why they put this into brackets, or what was the reason of why Ashawkāni rahimahullah ta'ala made a distinction between human urine and the urine of a nursing infant boy? So this is the question. Scholars, whenever they write something, they always write something with an intention. So this was something which was intended by Ashawkāni. First, he mentioned generally that bawlul admi, that human urine is impure. And then he made the exception by saying illa الذكر الرضيع, a nursing infant boy. So today's discussion starts with, is the urine of a infant boy impure or not? And what was the position of Ashawkāni with regards to this? Apparently, from the text that is in front of us, we can see that Ashawkāni does not consider the urine of a nursing infant boy to be impure. So we would like to hear from the students of what knowledge they have with regards to this, especially those sisters that are here that are married, that will become married, and inshallah they will get married one day, and then Allah will bless them with children. So, and if they are blessed with boys, this is something which concerns them directly. Now, any idea? So we have two questions. First question is, what is the correct ruling with regards to the urine of a nursing infant, male infant? Is it pure or impure? Secondly, what is the position of Ashawkāni? What is the position of Ashawkāni with regards to the urine of a nursing male infant or breastfeeding boy? Now, are the two questions clear? واضح. Are the students following me? طيب. When we look into the books of the, so first you have two questions. First of all, let's analyze the position of Ashawkāni. What was the position of Ashawkāni? If we isolate this text that is in front of us, which is Durar Al-Bahīyyah, it will become clear to us that based upon the text that is in front of us, Ashawkāni did not take the position that a breastfeeding child's a breastfeeding child, meaning a boy's urine, is impure. He held it to be pure. Is that clear? Is not an impurity based upon the text that is in front of us. So if somebody was to ask us that what is the position of Ashawkāni, for example, a knowledge-based answer would be based upon the text in Durar Al-Bahīyyah. Ashawkāni did not take the position that a breastfeeding boy, his urine is impure. Father, this is first part to the question. When we look at the text of Durar Al-Bahīyyah, sometimes teachers, they ask questions in exams and they're very precise. They will say to you, what is the position of Ashawkāni when it comes to a breastfeeding child's urine, meaning a boy? If you were to write and say, based upon the text of Durar Al-Bahīyyah, Ashawkāni considers it to be pure and not impure. But when we look into the books of Ashawkāni, we know that Ashawkāni, rahimahullah, he authored many books on fiqh. So he authored Durar Al-Bahīyyah, the text which we are studying, in the year 217 after Hijrah. And then he wrote his own explanation known as Ad-Darari or Ad-Darari Al-Mudiyya in the year 1220 after Hijrah. Then he wrote another book known as Fathul Qadir in 2029 after Hijrah. And then one of his final books that he wrote was As-Sayyidul Jarrah. So this is the order of Ashawkāni, rahimahullah ta'ala, writing different works on the subject of fiqh. So once again, in 1217, is one of his earliest works was Durar Al-Bahīyyah, 1217 after Hijrah. And then his own explanation, Ad-Darari Al-Mudiyya, in 1220. Then after 9 years, he wrote Fathul Qadir, and then he finally wrote As-Sayyidul Jarrah. So we have 4 books that we see that Ashawkāni, rahimahullah ta'ala, wrote. Are we clear so far on the different years that Ashawkāni wrote different books related to the issue of fiqh? After analyzing his works on fiqh, we can come to the conclusion that Ashawkāni, rahimahullah ta'ala, his final position before he died was that human urine, Bawlul Adami, is considered to be an impurity in its absolute sense. That's from Min al-Najasat. This was his preponderant position. as he stated in Fathul Qadir. So let's go back from the beginning. So first of all, the first position of Imām Ashawkāni. Let's take it step by step. The first position of Imām Ashawkāni rahimahullah ta'ala was that Bawlul Adami, human urine, is considered to be an impurity, min al-najasat, in its absolute sense. And he stated this first position of his in Fathul Qadir. Is that clear? So his first position was what? All types of urine, male or female, male infant, female infant, is impure. Are we clear on his first position? Well, there. Where did he mention this? He mentioned this in his book called Fathul Qadir. He has another book called Fathul Qadir, and he mentioned this. He said, Bawlul Adami mutlaqan. Then he retracted from this position, as we can see in Durar Al-Bahīyyah and in Durar Al-Bahīyyah. So he made an exception by saying that Bawlul Adami, that human urine, is impure except the urine of a nursing male. So that was his second position. That was his second position. Where do we find this? We find this in his book, which we are studying at Durar Al-Bahīyyah, as we can see in the text, and his own explanation known as Durar Al-Bahīyyah. Keep in mind that the chronological dates of when he authored these books. Then he retracted from this position once again in As-Sayyid al-Jarrar to his first and original position, which was that human urine is impure absolutely. So he went back to his first position. In As-Sayyid al-Jarrar, one of his final works in fiqh, he retracted and he said that all types of human urine are impure, including the breastfeeding boy. So he retracted. He went back to his old and first position. So this issue is from amongst the rare issues of Ashawkāni, where he retracted from his original position twice. He had a position, he retracted from it, and then he went back to his original position. واضح, is that clear? So these are from the issues which you need to note down. And you find as scholars, these are not contradictions. A scholar takes a position, he continues with his research, and then he retracts from his position. Then he takes another position, or he may go back to his first position. From the nawadir, or from the rare issues of Ashawkāni, is first he said, Bawlul Adami, human urine, is absolutely impure. Then he retracted and he said, except for a nursing male infant. And then he went back to his original position. He said, no, Bawlul Adami, human urine, is min al-najasat, is from the impurities, mutlaqan, which includes a breastfeeding little boy as well. So this is what we find from Ashawkāni. So note down that in your books, that in As-Sayd al-Jarrar, which was one of his final works, we find that Ashawkāni retracted from this position, which can be found in Durar Al-Bahīyyah, that a breastfeeding boy's urine is pure. So with regards to the spelling of the book, somebody saying As-Saylul Jarrar. Somebody who knows Arabic can write that for brothers and sisters. That would be good. The books I mentioned. So do you understand why it's very important to know the positions of the scholars? Somebody who might just look at Durar Al-Bahīyyah, that's why we find that none of the translators indicated towards the last and final position of Ashawkāni. So had I not informed you of Ashawkāni's final position, you may have thought that Ashawkāni considers a breastfeeding boy's urine to be pure. Well, is that clear? Are the positions clear? The chronological dates of when he illustrated which books, we know that Durar Al-Bahīyyah was from his early works. Well, is that clear now? طيب. So that was with regards to Ashawkāni and his position. The other question that needs to be asked is that what is al-madhhab al-sahih or al-qawl al-rajih, the preponderant position with regards to a nursing male infant's urine. Is it pure or is it impure? This is the question, which is our second question. Yes, we said today we had two questions. The first question has been answered with regards to Ashawkāni. You have understood. If you were ever to discuss this issue with anybody and somebody brought up a Durar Al-Bahīyyah, you will say to them, Jazakallahu khair, we know that this is what Ashawkāni mentioned, but this was not Ashawkāni's final position. Ashawkāni had three positions on this issue. First he said it was impure, then he said it was pure, and then he said it was impure. واضح? Went back to his first and original position. Second question is, in light of the different pieces of evidence that we have and the proofs, what is the correct Islamic position or ruling on a breastfeeding boy's urine? Is it pure or is it impure? This is the second question. Now, what do the students think? You know Ashawkāni's position. What is the position adopted by the Ahlul Hadith with regards to an infant boy's nursing infant boy's urine? Now, these are very simple issues, but they need to be studied. People undermine studying these issues, especially our mothers and our sisters and our daughters. They are in great need of knowing these issues. Due to upbringing children, breastfeeding children, etc. No more opinions. أين الطلاب? Where are the students of knowledge? نعم. So the answer to the question now, بإذن is that the issue of human urine, بول الآدمي, being impure, which also includes a nursing male infant or a breastfeeding little boy, is established with text, بالنص and al-ijma', consensus. Ashawkāni himself declared that there is ijma' on this issue in Durar Al-Bahīyyah. So bawl al-adami, human urine, is absolutely considered to be impure, najas, and there are no exceptions. And this is established by textual evidence and consensus of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. So this is the correct position. Shawkani himself has mentioned this in his explanation, Durar Al-Bahīyyah. Are we clear? This is the correct position. That all types of human urine, male or female, infant or adult, are considered to be impure, najas. Has the second question been answered? Now we have an argument. So let's look at this argument and then we'll analyze this argument. So the argument that we have is that there are a group of jurists or some fuqaha who took the position that the urine of a nursing male infant or a breastfeeding boy is pure. This was the position of who? Once upon a time, who also took this position? Who held this position also once for a period of time? Who also held this position that a breastfeeding boy's urine is pure? Ayatullah bil-ilm. Who took this position as well? So I said to you, Ashawkāni, barakallahu fiqh. So we know that Ashawkāni took this position. What is their argument? So they say that, look, their argument is that there is a difference on how to purify the urine of a small nursing infant girl from how to purify the urine of a small infant boy. The infant girl's urine needs to be washed thoroughly, whereas the urine of an infant boy needs only to be sprinkled over. If the infant boy's urine was impure, we would have been commanded to wash it and not sprinkle over it. This is the argument. Has the argument been understood? So the argument is, Sharia, in the Sharia there is a difference between an infant girl's urine and an infant boy's urine. Infant boy's urine, you just need to sprinkle water over it. Infant girl's urine, you need to actually thoroughly wash it. So if the infant boy's urine was impure, the Sharia would have commanded us, Allah and His Messenger would have commanded us to wash it thoroughly. Because we have not been commanded to wash it thoroughly and sprinkle water over it, this equals that the urine of an infant boy is pure. Argument understood? Who thinks this is a strong argument? Those of you who think this is a small argument, type 3. Those of you who think this is a weak argument, type 5. Let me see who thinks what. Has everybody understood the argument? Yes? So this is the argument. There is a distinction in the Sharia between an infant girl's urine and an infant boy's urine. This distinction means that the infant boy's urine cannot be impure. If it was impure, we would have been commanded to wash it thoroughly, just like the infant girl's urine. طيب. Argument understood? Is it clear? طيب. So let's hear the response now. Want to hear the response or the counter to this argument? So you say in response that whoever is fair-minded knows that easing the purification process, at-takhfif fi at-tathhir, does not necessitate or does not result that that substance is not impure. So just because the Sharia has legislated and has made it an ease for us in the process of removing the urine of an infant boy, this does not necessitate the fact that the urine is not impure. The only thing is that the difference here is in the method of purification. كيفية التطهير. The Sharia has made a distinction between the two in the method of their purification, not because one is pure or impure. And just because the Sharia has given us an ease or a concession of how to remove the urine of an infant boy, this does not necessitate excluding it from the general rule, which is bawlul adami is najas. The human urine is impure. Well, is that clear? Has the argument, has the response been understood? That due to takhfif, easiness of removing the urine of an infant boy does not by default mean that it's pure. This is your understanding of this issue. This is your understanding of this issue, that you speculated and said just because of the fact that we have to sprinkle water over an infant boy's urine, hence it's pure. From where did you derive this understanding? You need to understand that the Sharia has legislated, regardless of whether it's urine of an infant girl or an infant boy, that it needs to be cleansed, tathir needs to be done, except due to the fact that the method differs, where the Sharia has given a concession and has relaxed the process with a boy, but kept the process of a girl as it should be. And there is also a reason for that. واضح? So why do we have to clean thoroughly the urine of an infant girl? And why do we have to sprinkle water over the urine of an infant boy during the process of cleansing? هذا هو السؤال. And has the argument been understood so far? The response is very important. So due to the relaxation or easiness, this does not take away the fact that the urine is pure. It's kayfiyatul tathhir. The method of purification is different, and there is a wisdom and a reason and a illah of why there is a difference. And you will see Ashawkāni himself in Durar Al-Bahīyyah, in the next issue that we study, he himself brings this same argument which I'm bringing now, to say that just because of a relaxation of a process doesn't necessitate the fact that that thing in itself is impure, is not impure. Then we say, also once the infant starts eating food, regardless of a boy or a girl, the urine needs to be washed thoroughly. So the restriction of sprinkling water is restricted to the breastfeeding period. As soon as the boy starts to eat normal food, then there is no sprinkling. So if it was pure, then it would have to remain pure even then. But then everybody agrees that you need to wash it now. واضح? And for those of you who are interested in knowing why we have to wash the urine of a infant girl thoroughly, then refer to the wisdom of why an infant nursing boy's urine is sprinkled and an infant nursing girl's urine is washed. Refer to the book by Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, who's talked about this in length, known as Tuhfatul Mawdud bi Ahkamil Mawlud. You'll find a great detailed explanation of why there is a difference between the two. Now, واضح, is that clear? I think one of the sisters asked hikmah. Maybe some of the hikmah could be mentioned, that the wisdom or the hikmah behind Tuhfatul Mawdud bi Ahkamil Mawlud by Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala. I don't know if this book has been translated into English. If it has, it's a good translation, then you can refer. Ibn al-Qayyim talks about this issue in length, about the difference of procedure when it comes to cleansing the urine of an infant girl and an infant boy, where the infant boy, the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to sprinkle water over that urine. واضح, is that clear? So far, we're clear on the issue of نعم تحفة المودود بأحكام المولود, book by Ibn al-Qayyim. طيب. So this week's homework is for you to find out and see in the next lesson if anybody can do some research and go back to the book of Ibn al-Qayyim and look at some of the wisdoms that have been mentioned by Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala. Even if we could not find a reasoning, we would still submit to the Sharia, because the Sharia does not command us to do so except that there is a benefit and there is a reason behind it. واضح. So has the issue been cleared now with regards to the argument and the response? Tuhfatul Mawdud bi Ahkamil Mawlud. Ibn Qayyim has a whole section devoted to this issue, and you can refer back to that. Now, طيب, اقرأ الشرح. بارك الله فيك. Read the explanation.
In English.
نعم, as for human defecation.
أحسن الله إليكم. The translator says, explanation. As for human defecation and urine being regarded as impurities, there are clear-cut authentic reports indicating that, and there being impurities fall within what is unreservedly accepted in the deen, as that will not be hidden from a person who researches into the evidences of the Sharia and the way of life of the era of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The fact that the two are sometimes regarded as being pure cannot rule out this fact. As for human defecation, no. As for human defecation, it is as it comes in the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, إذا وطئ أحدكم بنعله الأذى فإن التراب له طهور. When any of you marches his footwear upon dirt, verily the sand will purify it. In another version, it reads, إذا وطئ الأذى بخفيه فطهورهما التراب. When any of you marches his leather sock upon dirt, verily the sand will purify both.
Yeah.
Abu Dawood, rahimahullah, recorded both the narrations, and so did Ibn Sakan, Al-Hakim, and Al-Bayhaqi, rahimahumullah. There's a difference of opinion over it with regards to its chain on the path of Al-Awza'i, rahimahullah.
So we have this hadith now in front of us. And I always say this, and I will say to you students again, that the different disciplines of Al-Islam are all connected to one another. They are interdependent. So Ashawkāni mentioned the first piece of evidence with regards to human defecation. He mentioned the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِذَا وَطِيَ أَحْدُكُمْ بِنَعْلِهِ الْأَذَى فَإِنَّ التُّرَابَ لَهُ طَهُورٌ. When any of you marches his footwear upon dirt, sand will purify it. Ashawkāni, after quoting this hadith of Abu Hurairah, he mentioned the sources for this hadith, meaning that where can you find, where has this hadith been transmitted, or what are the sources of this hadith, which is the methodology of any scholar. When he decides to present a piece of evidence in support of his argument, he needs to not only cite the evidence, but also give its reference. So he mentioned that this narration has been reported by Abu Dawood, second, Hakim, Al-Bayhaqi. And then after quoting or after citing the narration, Ashawkāni always, you could say not always, but a lot of the times he does this. He says there is a difference of opinions over it with regards to its chain of transmission. Due to who? Due to Al-Awza'i. Al-Imam Al-Awza'i, rahimahullah ta'ala. Does anybody know who Al-Awza'i is? Anybody heard of Al-Awza'i? Al-Awza'i was one of the Imams of the Ahl al-Hadith from Sham, Damascus. He was originally from Sindh, from India. Al-Awza'i, rahimahullah ta'ala. So Ashawkāni, Jazahullah khair, cites the hadith, identifies the problem, and moves on. And then someone like myself, who is been given the burden and the responsibility to teach this book, has to explain to the students what Ashawkāni rahimahullah ta'ala identified the problem, what is the problem, and what is the solution of this problem. He's left the problem with this very nicely. He just quoted the hadith and said there is a difference of opinions over it with regards to its chain due to al-Awza'i. So it seems that the chain of transmission is problematic due to al-Awza'i. Awza'i himself is an imam, thiqatun thabt, is a giant, just like Ash-Shafi'i, Malik, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and others. He was a great muhaddith and a faqih. So his integrity is established due to the extent that they said that his own school of jurisprudence was being followed where he lived with Muslim students. So we have this narration, and when we analyze a narration, the analysis of a narration is done from two different perspectives. First is its chain, which is known as the isnad, and the second is its matan, which is known as the text, collectively. Are you following? So Shawkāni told us the reason of dispute. He said, you know what? This hadith of Abu Hurairah, these are the sources. It's problematic due to al-Awza'i. Why is it problematic due to Awza'i? Awza'i, is there a problem with Awza'i in this narration? What is the actual problem? We need to know. It is for this reason that I say that students of knowledge should also, with fiqh, study principles of hadith. Because there is no way that you can be firmly grounded in fiqh without being firmly grounded in principles of hadith. And we're going to find this over and over again with Shawkāni. He's going to drop the bombs and then he's going to go. He's going to leave it for us to pick up, and then we've got to see what is the actual issue with this. Just like he did here in this hadith. So when we look at the scholars before Ashawkāni, great scholars, their position with regards to this narration was what? So for example, we have Ibn al-Arabi, who wrote an explanation of At-Tirmidhi, known as Aridatul Ahwadi. He said, this hadith la yasih. It's not authentic. Al-Mundhari, in his Mukhtasar of Sunan Abi Dawood, when he abridged Sunan Abi Dawood, which Shawkāni mentioned, he says this narration has unidentified personalities. Riwayat Majhul. And Nawawi, in Al-Majmu', he says that this narration has been transmitted with many different routes and all of them are weak. We have Ibn al-Mulaqqin, the teacher of Ibn Hajar. He says that narration of Sunan Abi Dawud is considered to be weak. Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah ta'ala, when he looked at the narration, which can be found in Abu Dawud, so this is all, they're all talking about the narration of Abu Dawud. He said there is a disconnection in the chain of transmission, inqita'. Ibn Hajar, in his Ad-Dirayah, he said, in its chain of transmission, there is a lot of speech. So as you can see that, just briefly I mentioned about 5, 6 great scholars, giants, masters of hadith. All of them, they verified this narration to be weak. It's problematic. Well, are you following me so far? Yes, the students following me so far. So these scholars' names that have been mentioned, you need to write the names of these scholars down because you need to know scholars. So these great scholars, such as Nawawi, Ibn Hajar, some names you're familiar with, Ibn al-Arabi, al-Mundhari, they all conducted an analysis to this narration, and they said, you know what? Based upon the principles that we have to say that this narration is weak. But then we have Sheikh Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, who declared this narration to be authentic. He said it's sahih. So we have a group of scholars who said that it's not authentic. And then we have a great scholar of this era, one of the leading scholars of hadith of this era. He says, well, when he done his checking of Sunan Abi Dawood, he said this narration is authentic. Then, well, how did Albani say that this narration is authentic? He said, يَصِحُّ بِشَوَاحِدِهِ, that when you put all the narrations together, they strengthen one another, and by this strengthening of one another, the weakness is dropped and omitted, and it becomes sahih. This is Sheikh Albani's position. Do you understand? It's not authentic by itself, but it is authentic بِشَوَاحِدِهِ, with different supporting narrations. And these supporting narrations are able to eliminate the weakness that can be found within them. Another scholar by the name of Shu'aib al-Arnaout, he said the same thing as well. He's another contemporary scholar, and he said, he said it's not sahih. Albani, in his footnotes of At-Ta'liqat al-Radiyya, Sheikh Albani, he has some notes that he has written on Durar Al-Bahīyyah, known as At-Ta'liqat al-Radiyya. In there also Albani said that this narration is sahih. So we know the argument. So there are certain scholars who said that the narration is sahih, and there are many, many scholars of the past who said that it is weak. Albani does not deny the fact that all those who said that it is weak, that there is weakness there, but he says, putting all the different routes of transmission that we have, and we put them all together, it is able to eliminate the weakness that can be found within them, to say that this narration is authentic. This is Albani's analysis on this hadith. Is it clear so far? Now let's look at the problem with with Awza'i. I mean, let's see why Shawkāni mentioned Al-Awza'i. We know that Shawkāni said that the problem lies with Al-Awza'i. Yes, Imam Al-Awza'i. Right or wrong? So now we know that there are two opinions. A great number of great scholars have declared the hadith to be weak. And there are some contemporary scholars who say that the hadith is sahih. They also agree to the weakness, but they say that the injibar, or the strengthening of all different types of roots put together, that weakness that they uplifts it and gives it some form of strength. So Shawkāni mentioned, and he said Awza'i. Said this, and the problem is with Awza'i. So all the chains of transmissions that we have, they come through Muhammad ibn Kathir. So all the chains of transmissions that have been transmitted come through a person by the name of Muhammad ibn Kathir, from Al-Awza'i, from Muhammad ibn Ajlan, from Sa'id al-Maqburi, from his father Abu Sa'id al-Maqburi, from Abu Hurairah, who heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we have the hadith. So this is the chain of transmission. طيب. Once again, Muhammad ibn Kathir from Al-Awza'i, from Muhammad ibn Ajlan. So we have Muhammad ibn Kathir number 1, Al-Awza'i number 2, Muhammad ibn Ajlan number 3, Sa'id al-Maqburi number 4. The father of Sa'id al-Maqburi, Abu Sa'id al-Maqburi number 5, Abu Hurairah number 6, and then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Are we clear? So this is the chain of transmission. We have 6 transmitters in this chain of transmission. Shawkāni picked up Al-Awza'i. He said, you know what? Problem is with Awza'i. You still need to identify this problem. So when we look at these, when we look at this chain of transmission, we have the first person whose name was Muhammad ibn Kathir. Muhammad ibn Kathir is as-San'ani al-Massisi, and he is extremely weak. So this is when Ashawkāni said Al-Awza'i, because Muhammad ibn Kathir takes from Al-Awza'i, and he himself is extremely weak. So this is what Ashawkāni meant. Shawkāni said that, so there's 2 problems here. The first problem within the chain of transmission is Muhammad ibn Kathir from Al-Awza'i. Muhammad ibn Kathir is extremely weak. طيب. So we identified the first problem. Scholars have declared Muhammad ibn Kathir takes from Awza'i to be extremely weak. Yes? The second problem is that in the narration we have Muhammad ibn Ajlan, Muhammad ibn Kathir from Awza'i, Muhammad ibn Kathir, number 1, Al-Awza'i, number 2, and number 3, Muhammad ibn Ajlan. Muhammad ibn Ajlan takes from Sa'id al-Maqburi. So they say that any narration of Muhammad ibn Ajlan from Sa'id al-Maqburi is questionable. So whenever you find a chain of transmission, and in there you will find Muhammad ibn Ajlan transmitting from Sa'id al-Maqburi, then this is questionable. Whereas Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal said that Ibn Ajlan, Muhammad ibn Ajlan, did not hear from Sa'id al-Maqburi. Whatever Sa'id al-Maqburi narrated from his father, he did not hear from him. So there you go. That is the second problem that we have, that there is a disconnection in the chain of transmission. This is what Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal said with regards to Muhammad ibn Ajlan taking narrations from Sa'id al-Maqburi. Durar Qutni said that Sa'id al-Maqburi's narrations from Muhammad ibn Ajlan were all mixed up. And as we know that Muhammad ibn Ajlan and Muhammad ibn Kathir, two problematic transmitters in this chain of transmission, they all come through Al-Awza'i. And this is what when Shawkāni said that, when he mentioned this, and when he said due to the path or the tariq of Al-Awza'i. Because what did Awza'i say? Awza'i said, أنبئت أن سعيد ابن أبي سعيد المقبري حدث عن أبي نبي. Al-Awza'i said, I was informed that Sa'id al-Maqburi, the son of Abu Sa'id al-Maqburi, narrated from his father, from Abu Hurairah, from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This, when Al-Awza'i said that I was informed, who is the one that informed Al-Awza'i is unknown, he's majhul. Hence making this chain a weak narration. There's this connection. There is Awza'i saying that he heard, he was informed. We don't know who informed him. Therefore, the narration, the chain of transmission has weak narrators. It has a disconnection. And there is also jahl, unknown narrators. Therefore, the khulasa of the kalam is that the sanad of this narration, the chain of transmission of this narration is munqati, disconnected, and all the other narrations that are presented as shawahid or supporting evidences are all also weak. This is what Shawkāni meant when he said, قَدْ اخْتُلِفَ فِيهِ عَلَى الْأَوْزَاعِ. Now, so we understand now the problems of this chain of transmission. So the khalas of the kalam is hadith is weak. So one, Muhammad ibn Kathir, Muhammad ibn Ajlan, and Awza'i himself saying, Umbitu, I was informed. These reasons all clearly indicate to us that the narration is da'if and not sahih. Now, and Allah knows best. Now, many questions. We'll stop here. Now, is it clear? Do the students understand why Shawkāni mentioned Al-Awza'i? Said everything revolves around Awza'i and this hadith. So the narration is da'if, not sahih. Due to Awza'i saying I was informed, Muhammad ibn Ajlan not listening from Sa'id al-Maqburi, Muhammad ibn Kathir, Al-Sisi being extremely weak. And the other narrations do not stand up to the standard where they can strengthen. نعم, he's ضعيف جدا. Not only because of Al-Awza'i. نعم.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ. A question asks, why does Shawkani retract his position twice? You mentioned research. Is it the case of seeing a stronger hadith or more than that?
نعم, Shawkani is a mujtahid. A mujtahid sees a piece of evidence, and retracting positions is a normal trend amongst the scholars. This shows that they are not adamant and arrogant upon falsehood. When when something becomes clear to them and they see that to be the truth, they adhere to it. This issue of Ashawkani is from the Nawadir, where he has changed two positions. You will rarely see that with him. So make sure you record this issue down and you don't forget it.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ. Question asking, can the sun be used to clean impurity by drying clothes and so on?
نعم.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ. Question asking, can the sun be used to clean impurity by drying clothes and so on?
These issues will come, inshallah. Once we've studied the bab, if it's not answered, then you can ask these questions. Our manhaj is that we study the whole chapter, and then if any of your issues have not been mentioned, then you can ask these questions.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ. The question asking, what of cow dung? Is it pure?
This will also come. لا تستعجلوا. All of you are very hasty.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ.
You have read the next issues to come deals with this issue. The dung of animals we eat and we don't eat now.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ. A question asking, may Allah bless the Sheikh. Please, can the difference in cleaning of the infant boy and infant girl be repeated again, and the hikmah behind it?
Like I said to you, the first and fundamental thing that you need to understand is that the Sharia, the laws and the commands of Allah have been revealed for us to submit and to obey, whether we understand its wisdom or not. For example, kissing the black stone, the wisdom of it is not known to us. It is only known to Allah. But because the Prophet ﷺ kissed it, we kiss it. In the very same way, any law or command of Allah where we have been obeyed, where we have been commanded by Allah, by His Messenger to do so, we do so. The urine of an infant boy, breastfeeding boy, nursing boy, is impure, and the urine of an infant nursing girl is also impure. The Sharia has made a distinction only in the method or process of purifying that urine. The hikmah, like I mentioned, has been mentioned by Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah ta'ala, Tuhfatul Mawdud. Inshallah, in our next lesson, we shall see from amongst the students actually takes out time, tries to research and find, and brings those reasons of which Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah ta'ala, mentioned. But even if the hikmah was not known to us, we would still submit to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His message. Khulasatul Kalam is, due to there being some concession or easiness when it comes to cleaning or cleansing the urine of an infant nursing boy, does not necessitate the fact that it is pure. هذا.
أحسن الله إليكم شيخ. Question asks, will we not say sahih? Will we not say sahih because of the shawahid? Will we say it's ضعيف?
نعم, all the shawahid are weak. نعم, so there's no shahid that is sahih. نعم. للحديث شواهد ضعيفة. If there was a shahid which was sahih, then we would have said that this hadith is sahih due to its shawahid. But there is no shahid which is sahih. No. I know.
No more questions, Sheikh.
No more questions?
No more questions.
طيب خلاص, we'll stop here inshallah. So next will be the hadith after that inshallah. Today's lesson been understood. Everybody is clear with regards to the urine of an infant boy, nursing infant boy. Now, طيب, in the position of Ashawkāni. Barakallahu fi. طيب. We'll meet soon if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. Read through the text over again. Read through your notes over again. It's very important for a student of knowledge to revise what he or she studies. Now, Abba Barao has a question. Now, that is the summary. Does the student have a question? يا أبا لقمان, معك سؤال؟ Somebody has his hand up.
If they want to ask the question, Sheikh, they can unmute themselves.
طيب, تفضل يا أيها الطالب. خلاص؟
نعم شيخ.
طيب, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.